like to draw our meeting to order. We'll jump right into our awards and recognition with Mr. Parker.
All right, we've got several of them tonight, which is always a wonderful thing. So first with us tonight, we have Trenton Pig from Great Crossing High School. Trenton he just ended his junior year on an extremely high note. He is the two-time state runner-up, but he claimed the title as esports champion. He placed 8th in the nation in Madden and boasts a 49-5 season. Is that correct? It's pretty good. Trenton was also named the Boys Co-Ed Esports Student Athlete of the Year by Midway University and KHSAA, and won the Hawksby for Individual Male Performance of the Year. I like to say that Trenton Pig is the only person that I know in Scott County schools, that has defeated Trinity in football. Nobody else can take that from you at all. Esports is another example of the many unique and interesting opportunities available to students in our schools today. And tonight we celebrate Trenton and his very impressive list of accomplishments. We're all super excited to see what he does during his senior year at Great Crossing. Congratulations to state champion Trenton Pig. Got more.
I know. I'm waiting.
All right.
We're anxiously awaiting.
Yes. All right. So, we are thrilled, absolutely thrilled to recognize some of our incredible students that have made a tremendous growth in the skills of reading, writing, and listening. But not only that, I couldn't imagine doing all of those things while also learning a second language. Learning English this school year. So these students, they've not only worked hard on the content, but they have overcome learning English at the same time. And we wanted to recognize those students today. So I'm going to call up, I think we're going to do this by school. I'm trying to think through the best way to do this. I'm going to do this by school. So from Ann Mason, we have Emily Diaz. Come on up, Emily. I'm going to give her her coin. Come on up. Scott County Schools. I'm going to shake my hand. There we go. And then I'm going to give you this one. Okay. So we're going to do, each student will get a coin, and then we'll do a big picture at the end. Big picture at the end, because we've got a lot of people here. Yeah, no, she can go right down. All right. And next up from Creekside, Andy Santos Serrano, come on up.
Oh,
Come on over, Andy. We'll get you a picture. All right. I also have from Ann Mason, Kelvin Siki. No?
Galilea and Mariana.
Galilea Paz Jacobo. Come on up. Also, you got a family member here. Is Mariana Paz? Come on over. Come on over. Eastern? All right, I'm ready for Eastern. I've got Campbell Coyle. Also from Eastern, Iker Gomez. All right, from guard, we've got Jonathan Alvarez. Good picture. I've also got Axel Alvarado. And then I have one more, I believe, correct? My guard? No?
I gave you my most
Axel Vasquez. I'm sorry, no. Excuse me. Alex. Oh, timeout. Is that a? Who is that? Oh, okay, I can deal with Mbappe. I can deal with Mbappe. Adiel Rakino. Orlando Campos Valdivinos. And Justin Castellanos Beltran. All right, from Northern, we have Jennifer Waying Su. All right, from Stamping Ground, we've got Jaden Lee Terry. Woo! And then we've got Abiel Beltran Vivanco. All right, we're at Western Elementary, and I've got Adriana Sanchez. we've also got from Western, Elena Barres Perez.
Eliana, mira para acá.
Now we're going to drop back really quick and catch a couple of our friends, one from GAR, Juan Morales Mantica. And then next we have from Lemonsville, John Reyes Ortiz. And now back to Western. I've got Jefferson Eduardo Aravelo. Royal Springs, Cheyenne Bartolo. And then we got from Great Crossing High School, Angel de la Rosa Perez. Did we miss anybody? Did we miss anybody? Okay, just we got a big crowd. I want to make sure. All right, congratulations to everybody. All right, follow Miss Taylor. Well, actually, have somebody else do that real quick. Or I'll tell you what, let's just do this. We're gonna pump real quick. We're gonna pump real quick. Before we go, I did have one final presentation. As you know, this will be the last board meeting for our District Assessment and Achievement Coordinator, Robin Taylor. We're over here, Robin Taylor. And she'll continue to serve the needs of students and focus on student learning in her role as Assistant Principal at Northside Elementary School in Woodford County. And we I know her kids are going to be especially happy with this move, but here in Scott County, we're pretty sorry about this. Hate to see her go. Robin's presented many important pieces of information and guides to our district about instruction, and she's been in countless board meetings. And her job duties are really kind of too numerous to name. But she's worked with diligence for I think more than 12 years to ensure that we're making decisions that are great for kids based on data, supporting our teachers, and doing what's best for Scott County. Again, our loss is Woodford County's gain. But before she leaves, we just wanted to make sure we were able to honor her and show our appreciation to her. So we would like to please help me show my appreciation to Miss Robin Taylor.
We're gonna go upstairs for a picture. We're gonna take a picture upstairs.
We'll do a picture upstairs, so we'll follow Robin Taylor.
Well, that doesn't matter. I already did
I am. I was Felix is probably as high as it go.
You're right. I was thinking about later. I'm gonna go with
The B team.
You guys aren't as fun.
Okay, we just did a little switch in our room here for a minute. All right. Number 4, agenda approval.
I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda, if we could move 50 and 51 to switch them.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, public comment. No? Okay. Number 6, consent agenda items 6A through 6I. All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, construction report. Welcome.
I think it's right up here, and then she'll pull it up.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Okay.
We got some pictures here for you, so you know what's going on. And it's, progress is going, we have really good weather, it's been dry, and we've had a little bit of rain here recently, so progress is moving along pretty good. You'll see, the first picture there.
Oh, you got a clicker out
Right, I think it's right there.
Just, first put in the middle. Okay, so that's the front of the building, we're starting to put insulation on block around the building, so we're starting to get the cavity wall started and set up there. Should have, let's see.
Other button. Try the other button.
Over on the side, the bricks going up to the top of the wall, you can see the insulation on the walls there, that's where the metal panels will be installed, the outer surfaces there. We're starting to see windows come in and closing in the lower level, so that's the first round of windows, that started yesterday. So we're starting to get airtight spaces developing here. As you work around the building across, going moving north, that's the storm shelter wall, that's the cafeteria wall there. So we're starting to put the insulation on that wall, and brick will continue on there. Wrapping around the end, that's the end of the kitchen. I'm sorry, that's the cafeteria porch area there that you're seeing there. That'll all be built up to grade, and that's the doors where that lift is going into the cafeteria.
Can you go back a little bit, Jim?
Sure.
What were they pouring concrete for that?
At that point, there's probably, they might be just washing out a truck at that location right there, because there's nothing there that would be site related at this point. So they probably did some they would have had some footings in there. There is a retaining wall and a mechanical space, outside mechanical space for transformers, and there's a spot for the gas propane tank for the common kitchen. All that stuff is happening on the left side there of the picture. So they might have been pouring some pad work in there, but that might just be washing out the actual location. There's a series of retaining walls and stuff to help to make that area flat and long too. This is the back side, so we're looking into the ag classroom space there. There's an overhead door on the right. There's 2 ag classrooms, this is the left one, and there's one on the right side of that. That's glass into this would be the room that would have a horticulture, has the dog grooming, has sort of the science classes or lab stations in that room there. This is moving around the building again to the band room. The big gap on the left side of that picture is where the auditorium is. So they're still using it as access space to get into the main corridor to circulate materials and stuff into that space. So that's still a big opening there. They have done things like the pit lift areas and stuff like that already been in place, and they're bridged over top of that to be able to get vehicles through that space. But that is actually that cement truck is in the middle of the seating of the auditorium right there. And then that wall on the left side, that's the Great Hall wall inside there. And the top set of windows is open to the outside, the 2 spaces below that are science rooms and multi-purpose rooms. That's looking directly into the theater again. Gym's on the left, band's on the right. They started doing the underground water retention system. This is in the front of the building, so that's the big yellow U-shaped forms on the right there. We placed in there, covered up with stone, and that's where any of the roof drains and all the stuff in the building, the parking lot drains will run to that system and store water there, and it'll slowly drain off into the system to the creek, so we don't overflow at one time. So there's a big, huge area that's underneath the parking lot area there. This is looking into the gym. So there's still, we've got the wood beams on the left and right, the big, huge girders right in front of the back there. So they're starting to get the wood structure up, and the wood structure is starting to come on top of some of these buildings, but that's the fixed seating has already been poured up on top of the left and right side. There's another picture looking towards the left side from the outside. And there's still a lot of mud in there because there's still a big opening in that gym wall. They're still bringing equipment in there. But that will be drying in pretty quickly. Picture of the Great Hall starting to form. Shape there, and the big opening above the orange lift over there is the big central stair. So those are science rooms on the windows on the left side. Below that is the school store and a credit union on the left side. There's the central stair that opens to the Great Hall on the right. So that connects those 3 floors together. So that's starting to take shape. This is the media center upstairs. That's the view looking out towards the southwest corner of the media center. So, then we've got the center section of the media center looking out of the front door. And this is the office, general office area starting to take shape. There's some outside work training going in there. That's the very front piece here is the front office counter. And then there's the first office is that big opening, there's an office behind there. And the left, quarter down the left, we have a conference room, principal's office. And the back windows you see out there, the guidance office space. So then they started the construction of the athletic project. So this is the front retaining wall that would be facing the front entrance of the school. And it's 14-foot high, cast concrete wall. And they've got, as you pan to the right, that's this wall, have the entrance connects. The second floor is that projection on the wall down there. So that'd be all backfilled up to the top of that wall. And then we'll start to taper down past those projected wall elements. And you're seeing the football field beyond the building here. And this is rotating a little bit further along, you're looking towards Long Lake Road right there. And that's the flatter area surfaces of the pond of that has been filled in. So that will be the location of the football field as well. And you can see a pile of rock that was taken out. So that sort of covers the pictures. Are there any questions or any thoughts on anything? You want to back up to anything at all?
Please take one. Please.
I
love Mike. Please
I'm
take
gonna wait for Tony.
I'm curious how many bricks still remain to be poured.
70 below is gonna be.
Within 5, right?
About 50,000 short.
Something like
So put that in minutes, and if I'm wrong, I'll go count it for you.
that. We'll probably still be here.
That's in the agenda, so.
No, we'll be done in a half an hour.
So anyways, we think progress is going well, and, from a construction standpoint, I think we're doing a great job, and obviously, we've got Wilman that's done the building before, Darren's out there, so, it's been very easy to work with Darren, he knows what he's doing, and I'm talking to him every day, answering questions, helping solve problems, so I'm actively involved in the project as well as Tony, and Joe's always involved too, so we're keeping a good eye on things, but we're very happy with progress.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then,
Number 8, approve to accept bid from Calhoun Construction Services to construct Georgetown Middle School concession and restroom facility.
Move to accept Georgetown Middle School concession bid.
Second?
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 9, approve revised BG1 for Georgetown Middle School concession and restroom facility.
Move.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 11, approve emergency certification. 10, sorry. Ooh, very important item. Sorry. Number 10, I was trying to get done in half an hour. I got caught. Number 10, student achievement report.
Okay, so in your packets, you have, 2 different pieces of paper. The first one, this is all around our instructional updates around assessment and the instructional software that we'll be using for next year. This is the email that we sent out to all the teachers, and anything in yellow is just indicating that that's new. But I wanted you all to have this just so that you all can be informed, whenever you hear teachers talk about some of the new programs and assessments that we're doing. The next one is a chart, and this is a lot more detail oriented for your all's information. And it shows a comparison of the last year's, or this, it feels weird saying last year, but 22-23 school year compared to this year. If it's in red on this school year, it is, that is going away, and it is being replaced with the item in blue. And so, also, Robin put together some kind of purpose of the programming, just for your all's information. So whenever you all hear questions or talk to people, especially our teachers in the community, it tells you what that program is and then why. And then also, we added in a component of how much each program costs. And so some of the big pieces that you all will see is we are moving from MAC testing to iReady. And you'll see on that first, just the assessment piece, there is a price differentiation. But as we go through, you'll see how that kind of makes up for some of the other work. Also, moving away from Mastery Connect. Number one, the company's transitioning, and also just found a better program to service those needs with EdgeElastic. And it's much more economical and does more for our teachers. And then USA Test Prep, right now we're in negotiation with that cost. I did put the maximum cost would be $24,000. However, I don't think that that's even going to go that direction. We're going to work with our principals. The major cost will be testing 9, 10, and 11 for practice ACT. High school is also going to be piloting iReady, so we're working with those principals and deciding if they want to do that additional test. But that does show you that if we go the maximum amount, it would be 24 for the Horizon Education. I know our principals, we did some work with them around Horizon, and they're ready to go. They love it. It's a fantastic program. I used it as a former principal myself, and it does a lot for students in ACT and gives work for them to build up their ACT score based on how they score on the practice test. If you go to the next 2 pages, this is the instructional software, and so you can see in 2023, all of the instructional software that we have been using to specifically align to MAC testing is all going away, because you can see there are 2 platforms that we'll be using, the iReady Toolbox and the iReady MyPath. And that iReady MyPath is actually in the overall cost of what we're paying for iReady in general for the assessment. We piloted, as you all know, with all kindergarten through 8th grade. Not all teachers, the principals chose 1 to 2 grades to pilot each school. Got lots of feedback from our teachers, looking at how our students perform, and our teachers are excited to move away from MAC testing and do iReady. So, very, very excited. Also, in working with our department heads of our high schools, kind of trying to find an assessment that meets the needs for them. And they've looked at several different platforms, and they decided that they also want to pilot iReady for next year for high school, because we didn't pilot this year. So we're excited to see the outcome of that. In addition, we are adding adding mystery science for K through 5, and then Common Lit, our secondary English teachers especially specifically requested Common Lit, and so definitely want to listen to their voice and see if that's a program that they want to use in the change of that. And then also, the last platform that's changed is we did pilot Schools PLP this year, which is our online platform for SCOLA and the Phoenix Horizon community, the modified students. It does cost more, but I can tell you, after our pilot with our SCOLA students, the feedback that Heather received from not just the teachers using it, but also the parents, and the ease of the platform. In addition, it gives us much more autonomy than Edgenuity. It has a much larger course guide and offerings that we can offer students. And so I think that it's going to only expand our online platform. And then we will pilot that next year for credit recovery in our high schools. But I think already, Joy and Elizabeth already are excited to move away from Edgenuity and Schools PLP. But the big piece is I wanted to show you all, thanks to the work that Robin and her team did, we are going to be, even at the maximum, we're going to save over $101,000 this year by condensing. And I think, well, and I know our teachers are excited because there's not so many other programs that they're having to manage. It's all aligned with one.
Let me kind of jump in real quick.
Absolutely.
So with site visits that I've had with principals, you know, they've got some grade levels that are doing it, some grade others that aren't. So we've been able to talk about that, and while we're talking about that, it's just been interesting to me how much it's just resonating from principals that, you know, hey, they're able to just very quickly, you can look, the reports are very easy to read, the teachers appreciate that, the principals appreciate that. So that's just to speak to what we're seeing, that the Shift already, we're really excited about. The resources are readily available, and they don't have to recreate things or create things in general like they do with math. You know, and one, I think it might have been Mr. Keeney who suggested that there was a report that they were commonly seeing in math that we didn't see here, and somebody just kind of made an off the cuff remark. Next thing they knew, they created a report for them already, like the quadrant report and that. So it just seems like it's been a super great transition.
Is already being used across the state to any extent, or is this kind of?
I can actually speak to that. Robin and I went to we have a regional cohort that includes a group of districts from across the state that are using it. And they did a comparison of the data of the districts that are using it and compared to across the state. And our cohort was extremely high performing in our students' growth. They do like stretch goals and growth goals, and the number of students who are meeting those growth goals. And that includes, I think there's a school in Fayette County, Olive, Pulaski, Madison, Jessamine, Franklin, it's Shelby County. So it's a big cohort of us who have moved and are moving in that direction. And we're seeing a lot of student growth. I can only speak from my experience. My husband teaches 4th grade at Southern. He's used MAC his entire career, and they went to iReady this year, and he said it's hands down the right decision. He said it's been the growth he's seen in his students has been
Are
substantial.
they using the toolbox and my path as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the toolbox is an extra cost.
Because I was thinking about with math, as a teacher, I get the score, and then I have to come up with something to do.
It does it
So
for you.
this is helping between tests.
Yes,
to
it will.
support
It
students.
even has a student group generator based on how they have scored on their diagnostics, or the other like benchmarks that they've taken. And it will, whenever we saw this, so if a teacher says, I need to put students in groups around this, they tell it what it does, and it creates a group for them based on their data.
Wow.
What's-
So will we, as like the district, be able to see easy scores that will make sense and
Oh,
not
yes, yes.
expand?
Oh, yeah.
and
And, you know, I'll have that for you. I'll just have a packet for you all to look at at the next board meeting, just so you can see what the reports look like. They're so much more user-friendly.
That's good.
And easily understood. The students know what their goal is, but then they also know there's a stretch goal to even push them farther. It's just, we're really seeing great, and their customer service has been substantial. I can also say the same for Schools PLP. I mean, they have they'll do anything for Heather and her team on their platform. So we're really trying to use the best use of our dollars, but also with the best programs.
Yeah, I mean, it's good too that we're speaking the same language, K, what's you said, K to.
We're all the way to 12. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
even
because high school didn't get to pilot this year.
That's even
And
better.
so, and we let the department heads determine if they wanted to, because we don't want to, we want it to be their user-friendly assessment. And they decided that they wanted to pilot for next year for 9th through 12th. Well, actually, it's 9th through 11. But 9 through 10 and 11 does ACT, sorry. But yeah, I mean, so we're excited because they will actually have a systematic assessment from kindergarten all the way through.
Does the toolbox create assessments that teachers could use based on their units that they're teaching now? Or is it just something systematic just to help?
Wendy or
The
Robin can answer
toolbox
that.
is actually, called Ready Curriculum, so they have a reading, math, and a writing curriculum built into the toolbox when you purchase it. So it has assessments for the units, it has interactive tutorials, it has activities, games.
So they're already, when the teachers don't have to make.
Already
And on that grouping report she talked about, when it groups them, it actually links the resources to use with each group as well.
Yes. Yeah, we're really excited for teachers, for kids, for everybody.
And Wendy, you mentioned the toolbox. The kind of neat thing is through going and talking to principals, there's different levels of awareness of that. So you've got some that just kind of, and they're trying to not overwhelm everybody, but what's awesome is it's not a situation where it's gotta, like, we have to drag people along. It's kind of, they're hearing from other schools like, hey, wait a minute, they're using this, well, talk to me about this toolbox. So it's got positive momentum. It's just been really,
And
really
we have
neat to see.
our professional learning cohort. We're gonna have a cohort of iReady leads in each school, and they will have ongoing training throughout the year that then they will share out with the rest of their staff. And so and not to mention the professional development that we're having this summer, and we're also having the sessions at the PD Palooza. So really, spending the time, today they had our Ed Tech day, and they had sessions on each one that teachers could go to around already. And so just teaching them all the tools, and that will take time. And we all know that with teachers, it often spreads through word of mouth. You find a report and a tool that you really like, and then you tell your neighbor, and then they tell their, yeah. So yeah, we will keep spreading that work. And speaking of, since we're talking about spreading that work, and we do know that we are super sad to lose Robin Taylor, but I did want to introduce Wendy Holbrook, who is our achievement and assessment coordinator. And so she'll be thinking of her and Robin have been collaborating this month, and she's trying to get as much knowledge out of Robin's amazing brain as possible. So, but yeah, so I wanted to introduce her tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Great, thank you.
Number 11, approve emergency certification for 11A through 11D as submitted.
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 12,
So on number 12 and 13, just really quickly, because this is very uncommon, and Josh can speak to it too if you'd like, but we're doing an emergency reading and approval of a policy straight out the gate on these two situations because based on statute, we've got this July 1st deadline on doing so. Does that mean that we can't, if we don't like anything in it or feel rushed, we can come back to it and make revisions. But this just keeps us legal. So in these two cases, we've got an emergency reading and approval for those, and then I'll move on with that.
number 12, emergency reading and approval of policy 08.11311, early graduation program, EGP.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 13, emergency reading and approval of policy 08.23, harmful to minors complaint resolution process.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 14,
So we're going to do a few first readings, and with the first readings, we're not approving anything. However, me and Josh went back and forth and had some conversations about the student privacy rights piece. What we shared with you in the email, I guess, and in communications, it's been updated. So that yellow piece there has gone from reasonable accommodation, essentially, to best available accommodation.
And that's simply because that's what the General Assembly wants from the statute, is that language, so slightly
got some time, but there were a couple that, that might have to change, not because I want to, but because the General Assembly says that they need to, so. We've got time on that, so first readings, there we go.
Corinda, this is already online on our portal? Okay, perfect, thank you so much. Number 14, first reading of policy 09.141, student privacy rights.
And this is the policy under Senate Bill 150 that addresses accommodation and rights with respect to restrooms and locker rooms and those things that have to presented online. There's one change of best available accommodations. That's the policy for first reading.
Okay, thank you. Number 15, first reading for the 2023-2024 KSBA board policy updates, excuse me. Number 16, first reading of revised policy 08.2323, access to electronic media. Number 17, review revised administrative procedure 09.14, AP.251, permission form for photos, videos, interviews, and web publication.
And that's just the procedure, so there's no extra required.
And it's outside the scope of the KSBA policies and procedures, which is why.
Yeah.
Number 18, approved purchase of instructional and assessment software for 2023-2024 school year.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 19, approved transportation agreement between Scott County Board of Education and Bright Horizons Children's Center LLC.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 20, approved orientation and mobility agreement between Scott County Board of Education and Kelly Stewart for the 2023-2024 school year.
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 21, approve agreement with APL Associates in the Scott County Board of Education for instructional skills workshop.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 22, approve use agreement between Cherry Blossom Golf Course and Scott County Board of Education.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 23, approve contract between Music Therapy Services of Central Kentucky, Paula Roberts and Associates, and Scott County Board of Education for the 2023-2024 school year.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 24, approve memorandum of agreement between Energy Management Consulting, EMC, and Scott County Board of Education.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 25, approve dual credit memorandum of agreement between Northern Kentucky University and Scott County Board of Education for the 2023-2024 school year.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 26, approve addendum to memorandum of agreement between Eastern Kentucky University and Scott County Board of Education.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 27, approve renewal of clothing bid for fiscal year 2024.
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 28, approve renewal of awards and trophies bid for 2023-2024.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 29, approve renewal of auto parts supply bid for fiscal year 2024.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 30, approve renewal of purchased meals bid for fiscal year 2024.
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 31, approve renewal of printing bid for fiscal year 2024.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 32, approve renewal of flooring supply bid for fiscal year 2024.
Move.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 33, approve renewal of towing service bid for fiscal year 2024.
Move. Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 34, approve renewal of fire extinguisher service bid for the fiscal year of 2024.
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Approve renewal of t-shirts and printing bids for 2023-24.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 36, approve renewal of the transportation parks bid for 2023-2024.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 37, review and approve student fees and charges as of June 8th, 2023.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 38, approve emergency certification for substitute teachers for the 2023-2024 school year.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 39, approve renewal and rates for school insurance and workers' compensation for fiscal year 2024.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 40, approve donation reports January 1st of 2023 through June 6th of 2023.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 41, approve items for surplus as submitted.
Move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. And number 42, approve carryover of section 6 allocations to fiscal year 2023-2024.
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 43, financial statement.
Exciting news. For you, 2 months we were able to get May done this early days. But as April, we started out with 109.2 billion. We had receipts of 10.1 million, expenses of 16.1 million, leaving our ending balance of 103.1 million. We had investments of 75.1 million, leaving our ending cash balance at $28,027,335.35. In May looks a little different. You can see our wonderful interest rate down here we got for our Scott County High School Athletic. But we started out with 103,172,852.46. We had receipts of 35 million, 35.6 million. We had expenses of 14.6 million, leaving our ending balance of 124 million. And we had investments of 101 million, leaving our ending cash balance at 22,914,268.60. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. Number 44, approve current bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 45.
All right, while I transition up here, I did want to say a couple things. Speaking of being fiscally responsible, Gina had, the work that she put into trying to secure a rate for us for our investment of our school construction funds. I mean, she does a lot of work that really and truly, I've appreciated in the role of superintendent seeing how much work goes into it, because before, previously, you hear about it, you don't realize what goes into it. It takes a lot to get all this.
Can we just
You
give
know,
her a?
Yes. And speaking in the same vein of being fiscally responsible, I don't think Stephanie Emmons pointed out that she also negotiated, I think, about $35,000 off of one of the fees for the instructional software that we've got for next year. So I thought that was pretty. I'll get to drive. This is awesome. All right, so I started off, and I will try to be brief because this is really an encapsulation of all the things we've talked about for the course of the past school year. So it's just kind of a review and reminders of things we've done. But I did want to just lead off with what we talked about at the end of my capstone last year and talking about next steps. So the first thing on there, the mission and vision work, really that is kind of held hostage by the graduate profile work. That graduate profile work had to come before that. So we haven't really done much in the area of the mission and vision work other than making progress toward the graduate profile work. Graduate profile work, you all have been to many of the meetings, we've talked about it countlessly. We've done a lot in that area, and now we're to the point where we have our learner profile, and we're moving forward with that learner profile, and now we're getting into the next steps as to what that really means for our schools and how it impacts the work going on. Pathway considerations, we've talked about that, numerous times, probably every meeting, so that's, again, nothing new. Refinement of exit interviews. So I did want to point out on this one, Damon Stefanik did a lot in trying to bob and weave and figure out what makes the most sense as to how we can get responses from folks that are leaving us. Why are they leaving us? Well, now there is in statute the requirement that we shall provide this opportunity. I don't know what we're supposed to do if people choose not to complete it, but we shall do an exit interview and get survey information. So we're already doing that. What I don't know is if they're going to end up holding our hand and forcing us to ask certain things or not. We do know there's a reporting component that's coming, so it may be that we'll have to tailor-make that survey slightly a little bit different, just so we can address the reporting components of that. Next, determine feasibility of construction bid. That was referencing our big bad Scott County High School that's rocking and rolling, so the difference that a year can make is pretty amazing. And then facility planning, we've addressed all of that. And I was talking to DT earlier today because I was like looking through this and I'm like, when did we do that? And it just has flown by. Seems like it's been 5 years worth of stuff that we've done in just 1 year. So speaking of supporting the new start of assistant superintendent of student learning, just Ms. Simmons has just worked herself in seamlessly. She's been a great addition to the team, very welcoming, calm, cool, and collected when that's what our principals need when they're dealing with stressful situations.
Can we
So,
give her a round of applause?
sure. The high school scheduling, that's been something that we might even keep some components from that. Because when we talked about high school scheduling, we've had meetings since around January on between all of our high school principals. And it's been a monthly meeting, kind of in addition to the secondary principals meeting, but it's been good because other things have come from that, and things that, like for instance, they're going to now start off their secondary principals meeting with just a very basic scheduling conversation, comparing calendars, because we found that there were some benefits to this scheduling meetings that we had that we weren't really getting with the other ones. So we're finding ways to merge that, and that was kind of nice. We just talked about the high school scheduling endlessly. I'm very eager for us to get to the point where we're able to start implementing it. And then last but not least, I know we've got Heather Brown here in the room too. Kudos to her for opening the Online Learning Academy for Scott. I didn't know this, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure we might have the largest Online Learning Academy in the state. We know Barron County had one that everybody was looking at when everybody a few years ahead of us started looking this direction. And we know we've got more students than they do, and they're kind of looked at as a leader in that area. So kudos to her and her team for all the work there. So now we're moving on through the standards. The first standard, strategic leadership. And I've got a lot of different things, but I'm just going to touch on a couple. Again, the drug use prevention program, that was something that I'm not a big fan of throwing things at our schools in the middle of the school year. But that was something that it was, October, November maybe, and we started working on that and implemented it starting in January. So that was something we felt that the need was there and we couldn't wait. So we found a way to work it in, and I applaud our middle schools for really working with us on that. Another one I just talked about a little bit was the high school block scheduling. That's been something that has required a lot of work. The Cardinal Drive Road project coordination, that's one that really, Dwayne has handled a lot of that, and it's been, I don't know, okay, I'm scared to curse it. I'm scared to curse it, I won't say anything. And then, last but not least, the leader in me, I'm telling you, I really, I'm so excited about having that opportunity, and what that's gonna mean. You know, and one of the things, you know, when we talked about the transition from MAP to iReady, that's something that, again, we're looking at this not just for what's good for kids, but trying to take some stress off the teachers. And our focus with Leader and Me, especially straight out the gate, is applying those 7 habits in their personal lives as teachers before we start working on transitioning to getting that out to kids. So I'm really excited about that, the potential for that work. The good news too is, I was talking to a Harrison County superintendent the other day. They went whole hog too. They're doing district-wide as well. And they're a little bit ahead of us. They had an opportunity at the end of this past school year for 2 days of training. So they've already gotten it. He said the feedback's been great. And he's just super excited about the direction that they're going there. Next up, we got a picture. Y'all might know those guys. So that's just, yeah. Then we've got standard 2, instructional leadership. And again, picked a few things on there. You know, some of the things on there all connect. You know, PGP meetings with principals, site visits, evaluations, those kinds of things. But then, you know, we already talked about the graduate profile and the work we've done with that. You know, community meetings that went into that. I will say that when you look at the Guide to Industry, Aviation, Logistics with the Kentucky Chamber Foundation. So today, we attended the Leadership Institute for School Principals, also put together by the Kentucky Chamber. And that's one of those things where I think being cognizant of those relationships that you have, and in that case, we thought we might get a little bit more out of it. I don't know that we did, because the roadblock you run into there is because of federal regulations. A lot of times with the aviation piece, they've got to be 18. There's no wiggle room around that. So I'm not sure how beneficial that was, but again, like I've told everybody, I want people taking risks, and that was an example of something that me, John Knoll, Joy Lusby, and Stephanie Emmons went to at the Northern Kentucky Airport to try and just see if there was some way we could implement it. The deeper learning meetings have been very helpful, very beneficial, and it's something that now we've talked about deeper learning this year. Now schools have 1 of 3 focuses as to how they're going to drive that work, and that's going to, again, build right into our learner profile work seamlessly. And then the STEAM card partnership that Southern Elementary put together with the Kentucky Science Center, and I actually saw the director, Mike Norman, today at the same event, and we were just chatting it up, and he's a big fan of Scott County Schools. So again, those kinds of things, those relationships, sometimes I know it can seem like there's different meetings and things you got to go to, but it's certainly good to make sure that we've got our name out there and we're relevant in the world of what's going on in education and workforce development. A couple of pictures, the archery, and then the preschool. Standard 3, cultural leadership. And here, you know, the STLP State Conference is a really big deal, and Maria Bennett and all of the work of our school tech coordinators and technology leaders, DLC teams at our schools. It's interesting just to see their influence and how that comes to pass. Tucker, you in here, Tucker?
Yep.
Tucker was champion at the state conference. He led me around and made sure I knew where everybody was, so I didn't miss any presentations, and that was great. ADK presentation. That's another example of just trying to make sure we're getting out there. And again, we can't always do everything everybody wants all the time, but we can be there to help them understand why we're making the decisions we're making and what goes into it. Because sometimes I think just understanding the complexity of it is a little bit more than anybody really has an understanding of on the front end. The JAG 5 of 5 awards is something that was really cool to go and see and participate in and see the involvement of JAG Kentucky across the entire state. You know, Phoenix Horizon induction ceremony that they had there, and then also also the Veterans Day meal that ties into our JAG group at Phoenix Horizon. The central office Christmas breakfast is, I'm telling you, it's one that, I don't know, it might get smiles, snickers, frowns, I don't know what it gets. But this year we reverted back to some of the olden ways of that breakfast, and it was, I feel like, maybe I'm speaking incorrectly, but I felt like it was very successful. It had a very warm family type feeling. It just felt really good, and it's something that we would continue to do, minus Christmas pasture, bread, pancake batter all over my clothes. And then we revamped NTI. That was that we tried to make that, again, find that nice sweet spot where it's enough but not too much for everybody, and not feel like either a wasted day or a headache of a day for people. There's just some more pictures. And then human resource leadership, again, block scheduling impact, the discussions that we had tied to that, the development of House Bill 32, we talked about the staffing allocation meetings, and then the salary schedule meetings. The salary schedule meetings probably for me is the one that really, we just, from the time, we've already started working on next year's. The minute we get done with putting out current years, we start thinking about, okay, what do we need to be thinking about for next year? And that's been a fun shift too for everybody to start getting their minds wrapped around the timing of that, so that they can start thinking about it too, and how it impacts the people that they're most connected to. And then we got a picture there from the Employees Benefit and Appreciation Fair that Damon Stefanik and crew put together at Great Crossing High School. I was shocked with that. I was super surprised at the level of attendance on that. So it was really, that was a super positive. Next we've got standard 5, managerial leadership. Again, budget considerations from salary schedule revisions. Construction meetings for the new Scott County High School are just endless. Dwayne carries the load on that, but every once in a while I'm able to get, to be a part of those and make sure that there's nothing that might throw myself or you all sideways at any point. Weather awareness team, I wanted to talk about that one just briefly because of the fact that, now who knows what, now it's smoke. There's every time you turn around there's something new. So what we did is we meet every Monday morning, and one of the items that we started putting on there as the weather turned was weather. And we just put it on there as just kind of a, every time. We were going to talk about it up until I think April, and I think we pretty much just left it on after that, because then you got wind and you got everything else. But that's been something that we just tried to stay on top of. And then last that I want to mention on this was the student discipline communication. Frank's been really heavily involved in that. I know we've had discussions amongst us as a group as well, and we've had discussions amongst Deborah Reed and our high school principals and Stephanie Emmons and Dwayne. But again, those are things that we're trying to make sure that, at times we have to be reactive, but we're trying to find ways to be more proactive, and I'll talk about that a little bit on the superintendent's report when we get there. And then there you go. Just with my favorite reporter who's left us and gone to Louisville, unfortunately. Standard 6, collaborative leadership. Got on there some meetings with like John Cooper and Kim Minke, just trying to be receptive. And in the case of John Cooper, he reached out to me. In the case of Kim Minke, I reached out to him. And just making sure that we have those open communication opportunities with the community. Key Club meeting. Sorry, I need to go next. Excuse me. Key Club meeting, with that one, that's one where, we've got the Kiwanis clubs. We've got 2 Kiwanis clubs in Georgetown. And again, I appreciate and thank you for the stipend that we have tied to Key Club at our high schools, because it's just, again, a way to be connected to a group that puts all of their funding into kids. So why would on earth would we not? And again, I go back to the fact that we're seeing that we're just not seeing young folks really being involved in those types of groups, and I can't imagine what a detriment that would be if that pattern continues and we don't see new members. The BCTC Regional Opportunity Council, BCTC's been a tremendous partner. They're always trying to find a way to yes. They're just great to work with. The airport CTE pathway opportunities with Georgetown Airport, we're trying to, again, find different ways, and that's the example I kind of always point to of one where maybe the opportunities are small in number, but trying to find a way to get that out there so our kids know that, hey, these are opportunities that might be available to you if you're interested, because maybe the opportunity's here, but maybe it's not, maybe it's elsewhere, because aviation is everywhere. And then last is the Toyota Production Engineering Open House. And again, that's just one of those other examples of just trying to be at the table with these different opportunities that exist around us. That one specifically, I'm fairly certain that one is what led us to being invited into the Everybody Counts initiative, where we've got, I think I referenced that on the first one, where we've got some college career coaches coming into our high schools, and it's funded completely by the state. So that's a super positive there. See the picture, of course, there too, with Wilson from the hospital, Tom Fitzpatrick, and Jennifer Walrod from preschool. And you know what? That picture reminds me, I just kudos to the preschool for being so involved in all of our deeper learning work and profile of learner work, because they really have bought into understanding that, yeah, it's things that you can look at as a high school principal and think it's all about you, but they understand that we really are wanting everybody to be connected, and it's not just our high schools. And then last, influential leadership. We did get House Bill 32 passed. We started, it's the minute it passed, we were already hitting up people for applications. I presented House Education testimony on that bill. Then I spoke to various groups, leadership Scott County, presented to Whitaker Bank, met with representative candidate Jim Coleman to just kind of talk through what's going on in our world. I'm part of the KASA Human Resources Development Team, and the CKEC Best Practices presentation was an opportunity to again connect dots, because I had Mike Norman and Patrick Keeney come with me, and we went to CKEC and talked about what was going on with those STEAM carts that we've got at Southern, and that has been, that was a really positive thing. And Melissa Blankenship from the Kentucky Science Center today appreciated that. She said that they received 7 different calls from superintendents after that presentation wanting to learn more about that. So those are just a few things. There's Commissioner Glass at Southern. And then next steps, I felt like I could have just given you numerous pages, but I tried to whittle it down to just some of the essence of some of the big stuff. The Leader in Me work, again, is important and valuable. The graduate profile or learner profile work, that will continue. Our pathway, we'll continue to refine our pathways, and we may find some that are more successful than others. Again, I like the way that we've got it structured to where it's not just part of the allocation, so the board can drive that discussion if there's something that we see where, hey, we allocated you this last year, and we didn't feel like that is the direction we need to go, or we weren't happy with what we saw, and we can be more of a have more say on that, not be held hostage by site-based decision making on that. I really hope to resolve the JROTC situation, because that has been, it's interesting to see how many people think they have some magic ticket to getting that resolved, and it just does not appear that anyone does. We had a meeting at Phoenix Horizon and got some of our folks from Army that are the Army recruiters who are actually corporate sponsors that somehow DT wrangled. Don't even get me started with that one. But anyway, they even reached out, trying to, hey, we tried, but it's you're kind of held up. The Everybody Counts KDE workforce collaboration, that will continue. We will need to support the start of a new HR director, so that's going to be fun. If I had something to throw at you. The iReady Instructional Resource Shift, that'll be something I'm really excited about that one. And I think Becky, I think I already came out to vote for this, Franklin County, but they were one of the earlier adopters of already, so we've got resources there we can lean on and see, you know, not have to learn everything brand new. We've got friends to figure it out from. And then last, continuing on building projects. I mean, we've got a pretty big one, but then we've got some other ones too that we're working through and working on, and I did not want to forget about those as well. But yeah, certainly, I always said principals. I felt like as a principal, you were living in dog years, and so I don't know what you call superintendent life because it's just different. So, but that would conclude my capstone.
Have a seat, you're up next.
That's right, that's right. So superintendent's report should be a little shorter because I didn't have as many weeks to do anything because we met later in the month and now we're a little bit earlier. I will say though, I did want to point this out even though I didn't get to participate. We had some high school end of the year events that interfered for me, so I was not able to go. But we had I know Dwayne, Stephanie, Deborah, a few people went on a day treatment visit in Franklin County to try and just acquire some information because that's something I know we've discussed. Instructional leadership, I concluded site visits, and then I began principal summatives. I should finish most of those tomorrow, but I have a couple of stragglers I'll hit that last week in June because of the schedules. I mentioned the Leadership Institute for School Principals. That reception was today. We had 3 principals go through it: John Salyer, Elizabeth Gayhart, and Megan Wilhite. And so that's something that I did not get to go through it, but every person I've ever known that has gone through that process speaks that it's the most amazing thing. And again, there were 45 people that went through it. Scott County got 3 people. Not too many districts got more than 1. I don't think anybody got more than 3. So we were very grateful. I made sure every board member I could find, I shook their hand and let them know how much we appreciated it, and tried to learn some tips and tricks on how we can qualify when they review applications next year. Then last on that one is the LME 5th grade gateway presentations. I've heard about these. I've never gotten to participate before, but essentially 5th grade students came in and they presented on how they are demonstrating that they're ready to go to the next level. You know, for me, I can think back, and I don't even remember the first time I had a presentation like that. You know, and here we're getting kids that opportunity early, and I think that that's great. And Lemons Mill's done a great job leading the way. They've been involved with UK Next Gen, maybe before anybody in the district. I don't want to step on toes there, but they've been heavily involved.
I was really interested on that one. I have to agree with you completely. I actually got to experience some of those when I was at the leadership Scott County. We went to visit them, and those students were so impressive. It was one of those students' presentations to us that helped us to decide on what our project was going to be, and we were very impressed with those students and their work.
I gave a lot of tips to all of the little gentlemen that, hey, you know your audience, the button down, good, but, normally older people like me like to see them tucked, so sometimes you can get away with that, but, so I did make sure to spend a little extra time, let them know to be careful on that one. But anyway, it was a great time. We got to spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours, I think it was, going through a variety of those. It was just great. Cultural leadership, we had our Scott County Schools Employee Awards. Outside of the mic going out, I think within the first minute or so, it was pretty good. And then we also had the retirement reception as well, which we want to tweak that just a little bit, maybe shorten the time frame so that we can, because we had situations where some people came in the front, some people came in the end, they didn't see each other. So if we concise that time frame down, we think that might be a little bit more beneficial to everybody involved. We had a boatload of people that participated in that. I know Carol Ross and Corinda Toy were big time involved in place settings and balloons and all kinds of things. And I haven't really been talking about Renee today, but Lord, she's kept me afloat today with all kinds of stuff because this week's been a whirlwind. And then graduation, we every year we're going to learn some things about graduations and how to refine those. And we've had some conversations between myself and school leadership on how we can make those better, and so those will be great next year. We're really excited about that. And then we had all kinds of other various end of the year activities kind of associated with that, completion ceremonies and senior activities. I will say, under number 4, even though I've been giving grief, that congratulations to Mr. Damon Stefanik, Gard's newly reappointed principal. I mean, I couldn't say anything better, or I don't know, kudos, good for Gard, good for Gard.
He's still here. He's still in favor.
That's right. We did, the GMS concession bid, you all approved that today. Again, didn't come in exactly where we wanted, but it's fitting the theme of everything else we're seeing in construction, that the cost of doing business just is more than we would want. Me and Dwayne talked about going out there ourselves and putting them together. And,
I would join you.
Maybe you should just do it.
No fish.
And then I did want to, and I don't think, you didn't talk about pavement at all, did you, in the construction report, because I missed the front end of that. But we are having conversations, just as a reminder, when we did bid the new Scott County High School, one of the things we did not include in the bid was the pavement. We include the DGA, or the gravel that follows all the roads. We did not include the asphalt because at the time it was historic heights. And we felt like that was one safe thing to peel out and for us to really wait and watch the market. Dwayne's become an expert in following the asphalt and petroleum prices that drive this. Like because he was like 2 months ago, he's like, hey, I think we need to move on that pavement. I was looking at the prices this morning.
He's got an app on it now, don't you?
So anyway, we have, just wanted to be clear, we had a meeting with Tony Thomas. We also met with Hamilton Hinkle, who ends up usually getting all the bids around here. They'll end up probably, the state contract price is, if we can do that, it keeps us from having to bid things out if people can meet that pricing. Generally, because they're local, it's cheaper for them, so they can even do better than the state pricing. So that'll be one. I just wanted you to be aware, because it'll be a hefty price tag when it comes, but we do have that coming tied to the project.
So we put it out for bid, or we're just hoping that they can meet that price?
They'll usually always lower, because they don't have to go wherever, they're right here.
So it's just timing.
So they don't have to,
It would be one we bring to you all for a contract approval.
yeah.
Because it'll be likely 7 figures, so.
And we're talking October.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing too. We're not
That's
based
right,
down.
that's right. And then that's the thing too, is, we've got a high level of coordination on this, and also, there were things that we did pull out of the field house. There was a major parking lot that we pulled out of the field house that we'll be able to build back in. It won't be, it just makes more sense building it this time than a different time. And then last but not least, I almost didn't have anything on this, and then I remembered that I was appointed the member-at-large for CKEC. And so, the way that usually rolls is you're a member-at-large, and then I don't know if you're the upcoming president, and then the president, but, so I'll probably end up having some leadership roles with CKEC for the next few years. But I'm a big advocate for what CKEC provides. David Young and his crew over there, they have really stepped it up. I shouldn't be surprised, they steal all kinds of people like Rand Burrows and Miss McGyver from us to do the work, but, Morris Chapel's over there, we got all kinds of folks over there, but yeah, really excited to be part of that, and that's my report.
Thank you. Thank you, Billy, I appreciate that. Number 47, we have board comments. I'll start with you, Eleanor.
As I've been sitting here, I just thought this time last year I was filing, it was last Friday, I filed to run for this board for various reasons. And it's been one of the most, I've absolutely loved it. And I am so proud of you all and you all for what you've done. It makes me so proud to say that I am a school board member from Scott County. And I just cannot thank you enough. And I just look at all the things that Billy just presented, and thank you so much for enriching my life.
Susan?
Well, I think I can speak speak for everyone back here and over here on this side of the room. We're really glad you're here. That's all I have.
Just being among the graduations always, it's so beautiful just to look out and just to see the different students that graduate. And, you know, just, we had, over 700 plus
767.
students to graduate. And, you know, until you said something, like, this is our thing.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we do what we do. And I really enjoy graduations. I can't wait to on my road.
Oh,
I'll be documenting one day.
I think Eleanor's already pulled hers out of the closet. so-
She's shaking it out.
Yeah, she's ready. Becky.
Okay, me too, Renee, I really enjoyed going to all 3 graduations, they were all special, and Renee did so much work on that. She was there to lead us and tell us exactly where we needed to go, and we were one of hundreds that she worked on, so I appreciate her. And I've so appreciated everyone in central office for their contributions, especially shout out this past week from Eleanor and myself to Maria, who spent a long time with me on the phone getting me straightened out, Candace, and Corinda, who all, they really helped Eleanor and myself integrate ourselves into the board and do a good job of it. So thanks to all of you, and especially those ladies this past week.
Candace, I just cannot thank you enough.
Candace and Eleanor are practically twins now.
All right, thank you. Number 48, move to executive session pursuant to KRS 61.810 1F and K to
Okay.
conduct student
No,
discipline.
no, we're good. No, everything's fine.
Okay. To conduct student discipline proceeding and to discuss superintendent evaluation.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Session?
Move.
Second.
All in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 50, annual review, possible action from executive session regarding student disciplinary and the employment evaluation of the superintendent.
So the first one, you can ask if you have someone make that first motion.
Okay,
You can just read it and ask someone to make that motion.
okay, can somebody please make this motion? Motion to approve parent waiver of expulsion hearing.
I make the motion to approve the
I
payment.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, motion, will somebody please make this motion? Motion to approve expulsion of student as recommended by superintendent with services.
I make the motion to approve expulsion of student with services
As recommended by superintendent.
as recommended by superintendent.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, would one please read motion to approve 2023 superintendent summative evaluation.
I make the motion to approve 2023 superintendent evaluation summative
Summative evaluation.
evaluation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
If you have anything you want to comment on or read from the comments, you can. You don't have to.
If you want to
What
record.
about that overall, the finale,
Yeah, the same.
You just want
the
to,
overall score rating?
Overall score of Mr. Bill Parker is accomplished. Mr. Parker has done much to continue to improve the overall culture of the district. He works well with school leaders as well as local leaders. He has established a strong reputation for our district at the state level as well. Recent improvements in our salary schedule and work with state leaders during the last legislative session have put our district in a stronger position. He has put processes in place to improve student achievement. Next steps are to maintain close supervision of those processes to be sure they are actually increasing student achievement. Okay? Number 50, correct? Number 50, annual review of superintendent contract.
just read the motion or do you read my notes?
I think we were just gonna read your notes.
Okay.
Is that correct? Or do
Well,
you,
he's, well,
he's writing a
I
motion?
had to get the actual motion from him
Oh,
on the end of it.
oh,
I just
okay.
didn't know if he
Y'all
felt
can
like
say
this.
whatever you wanna say.
Yeah, I just
got
didn't know if
the
he thought
motion
this
up
was
for sure.
necessary or if you just want me to read the motion.
Okay, yeah, just read what he put together.
Okay, so not these notes. Okay.
Yeah, I think you should get
You
those.
read his motion and then read your notes. Do both.
Okay, I'm gonna do it in reverse.
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Parker was hired in as a first-time superintendent with a salary that reflected that lack of experience. 2.5 years later, we can all agree Scott County Schools is better than we were 3 years ago. As a result, he deserves a pay increase. We have not awarded Mr. Parker a merit pay increase since he was hired, and like it or not, the system in Kentucky requires boards to make hard decisions in order to retain the best leadership for our students and staff. Billy Parker is that leader. And for that reason, I would like to make a motion to approve a 7% merit raise to superintendent's current base salary effective July 1st of 2023, and to authorize the board chair to prepare and execute the related addendum.
All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Number 52.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All